First timer.
First timer. Shall we do the intro? Let's see. Dun 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 dun
Dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun dun. Wow, wow.
Bow bow.
We're not just realtors. We're your partners in finding the home of your dreams. We're on a mission to redefine the real estate experience. From the cutting-edge technology we harness to the red carpet service we provide to both buyers and sellers. Our goal is simple, to make your real estate journey as stress-free as possible. We understand that buying or selling a home is one of life's biggest decisions, which is why we're here to guide you every step of the way. Because we know it's not just about the transaction. It's about the memories you'll create in your new home, the laughter echoing through the halls, and the joy of making the space truly your own. Whether it's finding the perfect place for your family or helping you sell your current home, we're here to make it happen. Introducing your local home group. Let's make it happen.
You are now tuned into another Truth Disorder
Truth
podcast.
Disorder. It's our first
I
time.
said podcast, you said disorder. It's the first time with just the dual amigos.
Yeah, bro.
The Dos Amigos.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
How was your week?
It was great, man. Listing appointment Monday. Fortunately, decided to go a different way. Win some, lose some. It's just the nature of the beast, right?
Good.
So, but ultimately, so far, so good. I mean, here we are, halfway through the week. It's hump day.
Hump day.
Guess what day it is? Hump day.
Yeah, we haven't done a hump day podcast in forever.
It's forever, ever. Like ever. Oh my gosh. How was your week so far?
Pretty good, man. New Home Buddy seems to be gaining lots of traction.
Yeah, I was messing around on the website a couple days ago.
Good.
Yeah,
Did you like it?
I love it.
Awesome. Thanks for exclaiming that.
And I think I sent you my feedback.
Yeah, no, great feedback.
Critical feedback.
Yeah, it was great. I have a Google Doc that I add all of the feedback to with the developers. So if things are feasible, we we do it, add it, cross it off.
Yeah.
And we just carry on smartly.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way you build software. The world of software.
100.
100. So we're going to change things up a little bit. Today we were going to do a 30-second mic drop, but let's postpone that to next week.
Okay.
And instead, today, I want to know a little bit more about Gary.
Oh. So it's like an open mic.
Yeah, it's like a hot mic.
Okay.
The mic is hot, Gary.
Okay.
Not 21 questions, but
All
I
right.
want to just have the listeners get to know more about Gary. I know you're you're a veteran. I can't say ex-veteran because you can't be an ex-veteran, but you're a veteran. Served in the military for numerous years. Lived in Georgia, now San Antonio.
Yep.
And had a viral video out in Georgia that you shared last show, but we were unable to capture it. Hopefully we'll capture it here in the next coming episodes. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Gary. Let us know your upbringing, your uprising.
So San Antonio born and raised, a little bit in Poteet, and born in 88.
1988.
I was homeschooled for about half my life and then attended Concordia and St. Anthony's.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. I was the Poe kid.
You were a pogue. You're the
nice.
pogue.
Love that show. They got a scholarship to attend. So I was, for example, in high school, my mom gave me let me borrow the 1994 red Dodge Caravan. And by 2005, it was pink.
Man, Pimp My Ride style.
Pimp My Ride style. Even the sliding door.
X.
Yeah, we couldn't even afford to fix the sliding door that got hit by another vehicle when it was parked. So I had homies jumping because back in the day everybody
that was the ride, dude.
Hopped in the homie G Whip.
We had a purple one. My buddies had a purple one.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He had a purple Dodge Caravan.
Yep.
That sliding door. I mean, going down Jones Smallsburger, you'd see that sliding door open and full moons, baby, full moons,
bro. Yeah, no, we lots of debauchery in that thing.
So born and raised here in San Antonio.
Yep, and went to St. Anthony's and then enlisted 2 years after I graduated. Joined the military at 20, and went to Great Lakes for basic, and then was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
On the USS Oscar Austin, DG-79.
What?
Deployed out of there twice. and then worked at a super secret squirrel place in Georgia.
Squirrel. Out by St. Augusta.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I mean, if you're thinking about joining the military, DM me and I'll tell you how to be successful.
That was my next question.
Yeah, just hit me up because there are ways to do it. My biggest advice that I'll just drop to those that want to join the military is you get lonely as soon as you hit boot camp, and the first thing you want to do is make friends, start a new, clique, or maybe you joined and you didn't have friends when you joined, but you still we have that craving for connection. And so my mistake was getting involved and getting close to people that didn't think about the long game. Right. And so I had gotten in trouble a few times at my first duty station, just not making good decisions in groups, and that's just kind of how it is, especially when you're overworked and understaffed. You go out when you finally get time to go out, and there's usually alcohol involved, and all you want to do is chase girls and make more friends.
Yeah.
And you just don't start to filter who those friends need to be, because you don't really think about those 5-year goals. You don't think about well, maybe I want to have a family at some point. Maybe I want to do X, Y, Z. But there is a right way to do things. And if you don't have a mentor, thankfully for my mentors, they were able to play a part in me not getting in too much trouble. But I definitely could have made my life easier while I was in.
So what was your big aha moment where it was I'm going to join the military? You hear stories about some soldiers, and I'm not dogging on soldiers, but some soldiers and people who've served in the military, and their aha moments well, I had nothing else. Wasn't going to college, wasn't getting an education, getting in trouble.
Yeah, so it was interesting for me because being that I went to I grew up the way I did and went to school, as the poor kid, and had to take advantage of that opportunity. And I did, I was, for example, first team all district in basketball. I was in National Honor Society, had great grades. I was active. It seemed like the world was my oyster. And then honestly, my dad was kind of going through some addiction at that point in my life as well. So I didn't really have that mentorship or guidance that I really needed to lean on in a very important part of my life. Great dad, just, the VA got him addicted. We talked about this previously. Got him addicted to the pharmas, and that just kind of sent him down the rabbit hole. But the aha moment, I was dating a girl, maybe the devil. And
it wasn't La Luz, was it?
No. She ended up becoming my first wife. And actually a great mentor in the military once told me, everybody should have one practice spouse. Because when you're in that really toxic relationship, it can be really easy to just say, this person's doing this person's doing this, and especially when you're young, you don't really have that natural inclination to see, well, what am I doing wrong? Right. So I wasn't ready for a serious relationship, but even though she had her issues going on and she didn't necessarily love herself, nor could she love me, I didn't acknowledge the fact that I didn't love myself either. I just blamed her for making me hate myself worse. Right.
And I love that because you hit it on the head. And I'm not a therapist, I'm not a consultant or anything like that, but one of the biggest things that I've found in marriage is that you got to love yourself first so that you can love others. Right. 100%. I know, we're pretty religious and we talk about things like that, and what scripture says, and it's, love others as thou should want to be loved, or treat others as you want to be loved. But it all starts with you. You have to have that heart of gold, that heart of love, in order to provide and love someone else.
The love of God has to flow through you like water. Right. And in order to do that, you have to be familiar with the word. You have to be part of a community where iron sharpens iron, where someone's going to tell you the truth that you don't want to hear, but in a kind and compassionate way. And that last part's very important because a lot of people don't, they might know the truth, for example, it's the same correlation to RBF or resting B face, right? Like people say, well, this is how I am. If people can't accept it, yada, yada, yada. No, you have to be accountable for the face you put on, the smile you don't have. You have to be accountable to what you bring to the conversation, how you say things. Like just saying, well, I know the truth, so I can say whatever I need to say, how I say it, because I'm used to saying it that way. That's just a lazy way of not being a part of a community.
Right.
And just, taking the scapegoat of, well, I don't need anybody else. So if that's your mentality, that's the kind of people that you're going to invite into your life. And when you invite a community of selfish people, it always fractures. You always invite these sociopaths. You always invite these narcissists. You always invite these parasites, these takers. And that's just not what's meant for a community, especially a spiritual one. And that, we can go down that rabbit hole too. We see a lot of churches where that's why a lot of folks don't want to have anything to do with church, because they go into this place and they feel judged. Or even more similarly, they go into this place and it's like, well, I don't feel a community. I'm just here, singing songs and hearing a message and then leaving.
Right. You're
And
giving praise, but not getting praised back.
It's got to be a reciprocal relationship.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you give a little, you got to be able to take a little. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a huge message to, especially like what you were saying with in the military, your mentor once told you, you get one practice spouse. I haven't had a practice spouse. I wasn't military though. So, but I learned early on to, turn to scripture. I haven't been one of those like forefront people that's like, oh, the Bible this, the Bible that. Like I've kind of not buried my religion down in me, but I've allowed God to guide me and tell me when I should talk about him, when I shouldn't, right? Like there's definitely a right and wrong place.
There's a time to listen and there's a time to not listen.
Right. And I feel like, a lot of it had to do with like last year, right? We're in 2025 now. Last year, I feel like I lost my way. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was just like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, this is what I need to do, and didn't really stop and listen.
Yeah. And that's Proverbs tells you if you're basically, if you're to paraphrase, if you're talking more than you're listening, you're going to show how foolish you are.
Right.
And that the biggest part about relationships, and I learned this in sales, oddly enough, is that you need to listen more than you talk. Somebody told me in one of my first sales appointments, he's a little bit of a mentor to me right now, Adam Hughes with Legacy Mutual. He said, and shout out Adam, he said, if you're at a lunch appointment and the person that you're talking to is finishing their food before you, that means you're talking too much. Right. Because you want to be like, and I'll never forget that, because now I'm at lunch appointments and, I start to notice that like that person's finishing their food and I just like check myself. I'm like, well, hold on, let's reset. Like, what about you? Like, tell me a little bit more about you. So that's kind of a good gauge to know just a small sample size of what, kind of how to reshape a mindset.
That or they're ex-military. One of the two. I forget. I don't know if it was you or someone else was telling us that the drill instructors in basics used to like mess with them and be like, you don't get to eat a single drop of food until the last person served in sitting down. And that they literally would make you wait for 50 people to sit down and say, go, you got 1 minute to finish your food.
That's team building.
They're just
team building.
They're just devouring.
Scarf it down. Now you got 7 minutes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I forget who was telling me that, but they were like, what? I was eating with one of my buddies, after, coming back home and whatever. And he starts talking and he turns around and I'm done with my burger, like wrapping my, trash up and putting it on the tray. And he's like, holy crap. Like, how'd you finish so fast?
I eat fast.
He's like, man, it's just the mindset thing now. That's how we were trained and, brought up in the military. That's what we do.
I didn't start enjoying food till maybe 4 or 5 years ago, honestly.
Yeah.
Just taking my time.
Got to slow it down a little bit.
Let it digest a little bit.
Yeah. I had a not a dietitian, but like a personal trainer. I was talking to him at a birthday party, and just asked him, I said, what you need to do is like, you need to chew your food more.
Yeah.
I said, man, at the end of the day, I feel like really bloated. Just everything doesn't settle.
Yeah. Who chews tacos?
Yeah. He's just like, I mean, for real, like you go get the carne guisada with cheese, and I know John will vouch for it. It's just like,
carne guisada without cheese is it's just
not
as
good. Yeah.
To me, it's not it.
Yeah. And Bill Miller's has the carne guisada.
Gotta get it with cheese, man.
With cheese. Man, now that's making my mouth water.
I didn't eat this morning, so I'm hungry.
All right, let's cut. All right.
BRB.
Y'all get 14 minutes. 14 minutes of love discussion and how to pick your first spouse.
Yeah, man.
So you were in the military, then you were stationed out in Georgia, and then
That's where I met my second wife.
where you met your second wife.
and last wife.
Your now wife.
Yeah, current wife.
And I mean, tell us a little bit about how that happened. And you're like, shoot, I don't want to share that.
No, we can do that again.
Was it did you put your dick on my leg?
No. Well, we were dating at the time. I remember I got home.
Well, she was jealous.
Yeah, no. I got home and she was like, I just never heard you talk like that because, like, you know, I've trained myself to articulate the way I do. You know, I didn't grow up talking like this. Like, I lived with my mom for a long time and she had broken English or whatever. So I started to just kind of absorb a lot of her speaking habits.
Right.
And so, you know, living on the east side over Parambital and Nacogdoches, right? Like started to like have this like street lingo that just started to become natural to me. So when I came home that night after that fight with that assaulter,
that violator,
dude, it's like,
dude, you got violated.
I did. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and Cherika's like, are you good? And like, she's never been the type like, where have you been? You know, she's just like, what's happening? What's going on? And I just like, man, this motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. Like street lingo came back out. She's like, I never heard you talk like that.
It's that Sananto.
Yeah, it just came out.
It happens.
Yeah, I was in my natural state. But yeah, no. So with her, like I said in a previous show, like, I mean, I prayed for her, man. I was just, you know, living that single life. My first wife really did a number on me. I just had the worst trust issues, and I wasn't reaching out to God. So I just kept cycling through very similar women, and in volume too. Like my friends made fun of me because there was a point in my life, I don't know how I did it with this face. Yeah. But like, they were like, oh dude, like which one of the starting lineup is here today? You know, it's like, so I was just, you know,
you were like the Ted Danson.
It was weird
in real life.
Yeah, it was weird because I had like, I was just like living that prodigal life. And one night I just cried out to God and I prayed for the light.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, you know, she spotted me and asked my friends who I was and got her name and found out she's a La Luz, and didn't even register. I completely forgot about the prayer that I had thrown up. But yeah, we just talked on the phone for 2 months. I tried to take her home that night, naturally.
It happens.
She resisted. And yeah, we just talked on the phone for a couple months. And one day she's like, hey, where do you live? And I just like, oh, over here, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is my address, you know, and she's like, oh, cool, I'm coming over. And I was like, actually, you know, like out at a dog park, and was like, oh, well, okay. They just showed up, and quite honestly, she just really never left after that. So it was just a natural fit.
That's how all great love stories start.
Yeah. Yeah, I get goosebumps thinking about it.
You have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
Your kids are amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing wife, amazing support system. I think that's like
for sure
the key to success too. Like, you know, we're both in the real estate industry. We both worked in software. Having that like support buddy plays a huge factor in like whether or not you're successful.
Yeah.
And I think both you and I have great support systems.
For sure. You can't go and fight the world and hunt and then come back home and fight home.
Right.
You can't. That's got to be like the number one ingredient to suicide, honestly, in a man. Because, you know, most men, you know, I don't think it's natural for us to get our feelings validated by anybody.
Right.
You know, it's just kind of one of those things like, hey, are you struggling, bro? Like, you know, if like there's maybe a breaking point with that closest friend where you cry together or something like that, but you don't do that shit every week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's no bromance.
No, I mean, there is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Under the table here, I'm rubbing Gary's leg right now. We're playing footsies.
But at the end of the day, as a man, you need a society of men that, you know, you unleash that pain, and then you find out solutions with each other in order to go back out there and pick yourself up and do it again.
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and I mean that's the hardest part. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, a woman's hard to be." Like a woman is hard to be. Like I'm not going to negate that fact, but
It's hard to be human.
I'm also not going to say a man's twice as hard to be, right?
It's just hard to be a human being.
Especially in today's society where everything is meant to just destroy you.
Yeah, destroy and distract.
Like just absolutely annihilate you, you know, from your algorithms showing you know, booties bouncing around and boobies bouncing around, like all over the place. God's really testing your will in your willpower at that to like overcome evil, right?
Yeah,
like,
and I need social media for my business.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to do stuff, and I get those distractions, and especially in the life that I've lived of you just like drowning in women. I'm not saying that from like oh, look at me. It's like, you know, it's a problem. It was a problem. And then to carry all of that into a committed relationship, it can be so hard to let go, man. And like, you know, and the devil will tell you like, well, you're not cheating.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a quick sense of relief.
No.
You know, so that you don't go cheat. Right? It's fine.
Right.
You'll be all right. And then you spiral and eventually you cheat anyways.
Right.
Right. So like it's a constant battle that most men deal with. Even most women now. Like, let's be honest, like I'm willing to bet the majority of people are depressed. The majority of people are anxious. What are we craving just on a biophysical level is dopamine.
Right.
And serotonin, that's just quick hits, you know, whether it be food, whether it be a certain drug, whether it be porn. Man, you know, and like it's just being a human being is hard. And quite honestly, the government isn't going to make it easy.
No, not at all.
Becoming a Christian isn't going to make it easy. If anything, what Christianity does, it tells you, you read the Bible, which is a history book, and it shows you basically what God has had to do to people that completely turned him down. People are saying like, well, why doesn't God make himself evident? Well, that's one, you might be refusing to see it.
Right.
Two, back in the day when God made himself evident, like people actually saw works of God, they still fell into sinful ways. They still went and worshiped golden calves.
Yeah.
Right? Splits the Red Sea. How does Israel still fall off after that?
Yeah.
When their ancestors
can't walk across water, can't
great
split the
grandfather
water.
something,
Yeah.
the stories passed down, this God literally split the Red Sea and, you know, took care of the Egyptians for us. And the kids were like, oh, that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
Let's go carve up this tree and worship it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like even today, right? Like people, like scientists and national geologists are finding evidence of Noah's Ark at the Mount of Tehran.
I think it's Ararat.
Ararat, yeah. And they found it. And it's petrified wood. It's all in the stone there. It's the exact same width, the length, everything is identical, and people still are like, that's not it.
Yeah, they found the place where God split the rock and water came out.
Right.
You know?
There's a ton of evidence, but people still, you know, choose what they want to believe in. It's kind of like today in society, right? Like going away from the Bible, going into like politics and all this other stuff, right? Like people will choose which side they want to be on, and they will believe that direction regardless if it's telling them truth or not. Yeah. Right. I mean, it goes for both sides of the spectrum, right? You got like the ultra rightists and the ultra leftists, and they just are on this trajectory that I'm right and nothing's ever going to change that. Right. And then you have people in the middle that are like, oh, well, you're actually wrong and you're a little bit right, but you're right over here and you're wrong over here, right? Like in society has just been, and I think a lot of it's technology. I mean, I hate saying that because I've worked in software. Like, you know, I've been at the highest levels of working in software and developing software. Yep. And part of me has contributed to that problem, right? Like, hey, we're going to make the consumer behavior believe this by doing this, and we're going to create this to have and solve solve their problem for A, right? But it's going to cause B, so we're going to then create another feature and functionality that's going to solve for B, and we're just going to continue down this trajectory. Kind of like Facebook, right? Like, oh, I can write text posts, but I can't post photos. Now all of a sudden you can write text posts and post photos, and then stories came out. Now Reels came out, and
It's all to keep you engaged.
It's all to keep you engaged, but that engagement is just, and Joe Rogan says it really well, that engagement just drives that dopamine that you need, right? Like, and as you become more and more addicted to it, it's constantly like, oh shoot, I got to see what's going on. Oh
As
crap,
you
I got to see
fall into that dopamine overload, once you stop getting it, then the depression hits even worse. The depression from life itself and the things that are not going right within life itself, compounded with the effects of not getting those artificial dopamine hits,
right,
just compounds into this, just feeling of emptiness. And I mean, I've been dealing with, I'll tell you something on this podcast right now. I've been dealing with chronic depression for the last 10 years. I had a couple TBIs while I was in the military. Those are traumatic brain injuries, concussions. And I just noticed differences, but as I got older and went through the normal stages of neurological decline, the depression just got worse and worse and worse, and to the point, I almost became just like inoperable, and I've really been trying to treat it aggressively for the last 2 years. I ignored it for a long time.
right.
The military's answer was put me on Adderall, so I went on Adderall for about 8 to 9 years. Actually, funny story. We'll segue. This is cool. I love this story. I'll never forget it. My daughter was 3 years old at the time. I just graduated from college in 2022, December. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm getting off of Adderall. And I'm sitting there. I get home after school. I graduated. I'm sorry. I get home after, I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but I just get home and I'm just like feeling awful, right? Because I quit this thing cold turkey, and I sit on the couch. My wife's sitting on the couch. I put my head on her lap, and she's just, she knows what's up already. So she's, comforting me, and she just has her hand on me. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 3. She comes up to me, and she looks at me, and she puts her hand on my lap, and she's like, "Dada, you don't feel good? Do you have to poop?"
You're like, a matter of fact.
I was like, maybe I'll try. Baby.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try. But no, I really tried to attack it after that. In 2023, I did a mushroom dose a hero dose of mushrooms, which actually was really beneficial. I did that the day after Thanksgiving. And I hadn't felt that sense of relief for a prolonged amount of time, before I could remember. But if you don't do it once quarterly, or especially once every 6 months, those pathways that connected or re-stimulated because of the hero dose of mushrooms then go dormant, and so you start to feel it all over again. So I again started feeling it all over again, but I didn't want to go down the mushroom route again. So a year later, I started Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin was great for about 5 days, and then that 6th day, I just had the worst anxiety. I'm talking panic attacks, and I'm suffering silently. My wife's asleep. I'm on my hands and knees, like praying to God, like, don't take my life, just, struggling. And there was a point, at like 3:30 in the morning, I go and I let her know, like, hey, I'm kind of struggling right now. And she's like, okay, I'll stay up and keep an eye. But eventually finally fell asleep. So I got off Wellbutrin that day. I asked a friend who had referred me to Wellbutrin, and she said, well, yeah, I kind of had the same thing. So I got on anxiety medication, and, because of my dad's issues, I was like, man, I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole again. And actually it was a Rogan podcast with Mel Gibson, that I watched, the next day, actually. Look at God, right? Rogan podcast, and Mel Gibson's talking about his 4 friends that recovered from stage 4 cancer, just using fenbendazole and ivermectin, which I had been tracking for a while before that. But then he also mentioned methylene blue, and methylene blue, I thought it was just for cancer, so I just started looking it up because I had never heard about it before. And apparently it operates as a nootropic, as an anti-inflammatory. So dude, right then and there, like it's good for depression, can be good for ADHD, can be good. I noticed it gives me a little bit of anxiety, but nothing like Wellbutrin did. But I bought that right away off of Amazon for like $30. Take it Monday through Friday, and I've been on it for 3 weeks, and I'm able to hold a train of thought better. I'm able to articulate better, because that's the thing about depression, that you feel so down and out that you don't even feel motivated to form a thought.
Right.
You don't even have
your brain's in a fog.
It's
You're
just a fog. It's not clear. And with methylene blue, man, like the only thing besides a little bit of anxiety it gives me, the only weird thing, my pee's blue, but I thought that was cool first time I saw it. Still to this day, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But yeah, no, it's so for anybody out there that's suffering with depression and wants to kind of go a less invasive route, I highly recommend methylene blue.
Right. Yeah. I think it's so wild. Like as we have these discussions and we sit here and talk about these things, like I never really I can't, I'm not comparing me to you, but I've never had like depression, right? Like I've never really had anxiety other than like, well, crap, financial anxiety. Like we got to make it tomorrow. Like, and now we're we're financially stable, but my biggest thing and pet peeve with like the medical industry is they're so quick to give you that dose, right? To give you that prescription, to give you that drug, to try and solve your problem. But in reality, and so many doctors have been screaming this from the rooftops since, maybe even mountaintops since COVID, right? Like doctors have lost their licenses because they've gone against traditional medicine. Like, hey, you know what? The medicine is out to not, we're not really out there to treat. We're treating a symptom, but not looking at what it could cause, because, we wouldn't be in business if we treated all and solved all your problems, right? Like for me, for example, I played soccer for 23 years. I played competitive soccer at the highest level you possibly can. And my big thing was like, when I met my wife in 2013, 2012, like I was getting out of it. I've been out of it for about 2-3 years now. And I was having like muscle spasms because my body went from being up here at such a high competitive cardio level where you're running like 5-6 miles a day. Your heart rate's constantly over 165 beats per minute. Like you're just so elevated. And now all of a sudden you're like just not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So like I would actually like in the middle of the night start having like not seizures, but have like spasms where I'm like, dude, like I'd get up and like my legs are like shaking. Yeah. And the doctor was like, muscle relaxers. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, that's some Proxen and Flexeril.
I don't want muscle relaxers. Like I don't want to get addicted to this. And my wife's like, here, try some magnesium. And I'm just like,
magnesium's great for sleep too.
Yeah,
I take a calcium magnesium because I still have some insomnia.
Yeah, but that it was the wildest thing. I'd like my legs would just start twitching, and I'm like running in my sleep, and my wife's like trying to calm me down because I'm like literally like.
I bet that was cute. My dog does that.
Kind of like a dog with all 4 legs up in the air. You're just like, oh crap. And then they get up and run, and they run into the wall, kind of like this, Yeah. But yeah, it's just so wild, and I'm just trying to tie that into like the medical instance, like where they're not actually solving problems. They're curing your.
They don't make money if
they're
they
curing your initial pain, but they're starting new problems, right?
Yeah, it's not profitable to fix you.
You imagine what the medical industry would look like if like you could go into the doctor and they could like literally diagnose you and give you an actual prescription or a vitamin that would solve all your problems. Mm-hmm. Like they would never see you again. You would be a terrible patient to them because you don't pay them.
Yeah, it would be a billion to $1 trillion industry to maybe $1 million industry, and it's not good enough to them.
Right. I mean, it's just so wild, and I watch very closely, like the whole COVID thing.
Dude, I was sending my primary care manager studies of the shot and its effects on the heart, and he LOL'd me in a secure message.
Encrypted. You didn't see this,
just
right?
Sends me an LOL.
Yeah. You're
supposed to be a doctor. My current doctor, I fired his ass. Yeah. My current doctor with the VA, he was actually my dad's doctor. I love that guy, man. He does prescribe to most of the AMA training he's received, but the things that I bring to him, I'm like, well, what do you think about, like, read this study? What do you think? He'll actually look at it, and he's like, honestly, man, this is very interesting. You know, let's try it.
Yeah. I think if you can find a holistic doctor that puts holistic care before like traditional care, do it.
But
like
it's so
I
long
found
term.
one.
People don't want long term.
Yeah.
You know, instead of taking Kyolic, well, I take Kyolic because I have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
A garlic extract. The people don't want to wait 4 months for the change. They don't want to do the walks, right? You know, it can be a little overwhelming, right? Like, oh shit, I got to go work on my fitness. You know, no, you don't have to buy a Bowflex. You can just go walk.
Just go outside.
Just go walk 3 miles, you know, listen to something.
Yeah.
You know, don't got to go ride a bike, you know, just go walk.
Well, and I think that's naturally what like Instagram and like even Facebook has sold historically, is like, if you're not fit and built, like something's wrong with you, right? Like,
so true.
There's no wrong. Like, you don't, like you just said, you don't have to go buy that $1,000 Bowflex. You don't got to go buy a Peloton. You don't need to do that. It actually all starts with just getting up and moving, right? Like, turn the TV off. Go chase your kid around a little bit. And, you know, my son, we have like our kitchen's kind of like not a galleyway, but it's like it connects in the dining room and in the, like the eat and dine. And he will just come up and like be like, tag, and it's on like Donkey Kong, dude. It's like I'm in socks, like slipping on our tile floor while I'm turning corners, and he's just like, ha 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 ha. But I'm like, just doing that, I mean, it's gonna help. But it also all starts where you eat, like the stuff they put in our food. So we started meal prepping. Shout out to Clean Eats if you're looking for any kind of like meal prep service here, right over here off of Stone Oak. Pretty awesome service that they offer, and it's all a la carte. So you just go in, grab your meals, and pick and choose what you want. They send out their nutritional meal at the beginning of the week, and yeah, it's just great. So we started doing that this week, so we can watch our macros and micros in our intake, because I mean it was so quick to be like, dude, we're going to Wingstop, and at Wingstop it's hard to control yourself. It's like, I'll start with the 8 wing combo. Actually, no, you know what? Let's do the 10 wings and add 5, because your cowboy lemon pepper is it's off the chain.
Bro, I love buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings are my like nemesis.
Wait a minute. Flats or drums?
Drums.
Gross.
You
Flats guy all day.
I mean, I eat mix. I like flats. But
just to kind of break the routine.
Yeah, but sometimes like I mean, you'll know, like going in the Wingstop, you order the flats. Sometimes they're very skimpy.
That's true.
Don't have a lot of meat
Wingstop,
to them.
Get your shit together.
The drums generally come pretty beefy.
That's true.
Chopped with some chicken.
Do
so,
a beefy flat. Oh my god.
Dude, oh my god. Just, and then, but I mean, it all starts with like what you consume, right? Like what we eat, the Whataburgers, the McDonald's, the In-N-Outs, the P-Terry's.
Stop getting a burger on the way home. You know, like stop eating so much fried food.
Yeah.
Like, I love fried food.
Oh yeah, I mean, we live here in the
burgers.
South. We're gonna love burgers, pizza. We're gonna love that brisket.
You know how hard it is for me to substitute a corn tortilla. I love corn tortillas. We're blessed in San Antonio to have these homemade corn tortillas, right?
Oh yeah,
at restaurants. But man, flour.
You gotta get your carne guisada tacos with cheese and flour. With cheese. Bro. With cheese.
Oh my gosh.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yes.
But you can tell we're a bunch of foodies here.
Yeah. I've graduated to fatty.
Fatty foodie, fatty.
Yeah.
I eat nothing but
level.
fats, like fats, right? But I mean, the crap that they put in our food is just crazy, right? Like, we read an article, and it was from the Scientific Journal on TCBHQ, which is basically an immune suppressant. And TCBHQ has been known to lead to not only immune suppressing, but also like behavioral issues, things like that, neurological issues. And it is literally in everything. Like McDonald's #1 ingredient, TCBHQ.
Yeah.
So we have not eaten McDonald's in almost 4 years.
Yeah.
If you want something better, go to Whataburger. Go get yourself that patty melt. Go get yourself that Monterey melt. you'll do yourself a favor. But
In San Antonio, I'd say go to Chester's.
Chester the molester.
That's not PG-13.
Cut it out. No, yeah, Chester's. I'm a huge Chester's fan. Some people will give us pushback on that, though.
Yeah,
They'll
it depends
say,
on the Chester's you go to. I think the Chester's of preference would be the one right by Hollywood Park, 281. And
That's the original.
yeah, that one, I've never gotten a bad burger from there.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, again, it all starts with what we eat, right? So, I mean, if you want to get your health on track, watch what you eat less, walk, get up, move,
Be a part of a community.
be a part of society,
Yeah.
get out, talk to people. It's so crazy, like what COVID created. COVID created a bunch of introverts, like even people who used to be outgoing, outspoken people that could just naturally go carry a conversation. You still talk to them like nowadays, and they're like, I don't know how to carry a conversation.
It turned us into a Zoom generation.
We went 2 years without having to shake a hand, give a hug, slap on the back type conversation to, hey, keep your distance, bro.
Yeah, my wife and I made our second baby while we were wearing masks. I'm just kidding.
Luke, I am your father. We got to keep this PG. I was going to go down another rabbit hole on that one, but but it created this society of introvert, right? And I mean, it really changed the landscape of a lot of professional industries too. I mean, even the real estate industry got shaken up, right? Like a lot of brick and mortars went to virtual, a lot more virtual, non-traditional brokerages came to fruition. Your LPTs, your Reals. EXP is the only true one out there right now that's been around since 2012.
The OGs.
The OGs of the
MLMs.
the non-brick and mortar. But no, I mean, and there's a lot of great people at all brokerages, and that's not dogging on brokerages, but it just created this society of like, we don't want to be in person. And a lot of that too just became with overhead, right? Like a lot of these brokerages are just trim and fat. Hey, we don't need to operate at $1 million operating budget or capital budget like every year. Like we could do away with the 20 offices where only 5 agents come into every week. Like,
what's interesting to me about real estate is that I think that realtors, in order to be the best realtor that they can be, they do need that in person.
right.
Maybe they can go to the cloud brokerage after they spend some time at an in-house brokerage, but that in-house brokerage that essentially keeps you accountable in person so you can learn your job and be a good realtor, because you really are supposed to be a fiduciary asset and professional for your client. And if you don't have the proper training, you're just kind of winging it and hoping that, somebody tells you, oh, you may have messed up here. And a lot of times the agent on the other side of the deal is not going to do that because they are the fiduciary asset to their own client by law. So, yeah.
Well, and so many agents miss that aspect, right? Like so many agents are so young and hungry, and they're just like, oh yeah, I could do that. I could sell that, and just completely let the competence aspect of things go out the window.
Or even ethics.
Even ethics, I mean, competence is one of the first keys to being successful and knowing what you're getting yourself into, if you're not competent, your Texas state legal lawyers will tell you don't do it.
Yep.
Like it's a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah. I mean, and everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So in those scenarios where you're not competent, usually your broker will assign somebody who is competent to help mentor you and help you navigate through that scenario.
And I've noticed it's been a little bit harder because I have friends in all brokerages, and it is a little bit harder to get those teams that are involved and engaged and active and have the support and have the just the foundation to make a successful agent continue to succeed in the right way.
Right. Well, you have so many people that have done it for so long, and some people just coming into the industry. But like right in the middle, you have technology, and you have agents that will use technology. These agents may not use it. These agents are going to use it, but they need to get to here. And I
There's
think
a middle point
where it falls apart is like these agents are already pounding pavement, like turning and burning. They're doing their transactions, and these agents want to learn, but it's really not something that you could teach. You can mentor, you can coach, but you can't teach it, right? Like you've got to want it.
Real estate, you got to want it, right? Real estate is MLM.
Yeah.
It is multi-level marketing. And I got buddies that have been in the industry, pounding pavement for the last 10 years. Guess what? They're burning out.
Right.
Right. What you need to do if you want to set up that legacy for your family, if you're not getting 20 to 30 deals a year, you need to find a way to train on the things that made you great.
Right.
You need to learn how to articulate and be a mentor so that you can bring other people up with you. And then they essentially can get value from you and pay off your bills with the deals that they're doing. It's
Right.
MLM 101.
It's the new real estate.
It's dude, that's how real estate's been since day one.
Yeah.
It's just now there's a different bow on it.
Yeah, now there's more avenues of revenue for you to make money.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not transaction. It was always transaction referral, right? Like
Right.
you had every agent always had their referral agent. Like, hey, I know someone in Austin. I know somebody in San Marcos. It's just so crazy to me, like how many agents I see that are like, oh, I'm San Antonio, I'm Austin, I'm Houston. Like I'll cover all of Texas. I'll go to, Corpus Christi, sell a home. And again, the competence aspect of things just goes out the window. Like if you don't know the market, you shouldn't be selling there, Now I'm going to flip the script because I'm dual licensed, right? Like I'm licensed in Washington and in Texas. I sell in Spokane and San Antonio. And everybody's always just like, man, you don't do a ton of volume here in San Antonio. I mean, we've done $120 million in sales volume in the last year to date. Our team has done that.
Nice.
Across 6 agents.
That's wild.
So it is wild. Like I looked at the number this morning, was like, holy crap. And I got my buddies up there texting me like, hey, we got new agents coming on board. Like,
That's got to be a good feeling.
It's an amazing feeling. It doesn't look good down here because, we do so much volume up there. Down here, I still do volume, just not as much.
Yeah.
But I've been in it for almost 10 years now.
But that's got to be a good space to be in to where you're not feeling pressed.
I don't feel pressed. I don't feel like every day I got to wake up and make those calls. I don't got to dial for success. Like I just got to be there to support those guys that are doing it.
But you also leverage AI. You also leverage technology. You don't fully depend on it. You don't forget about the people aspect of the business. Hence why you do this podcast.
Right.
You leverage it. Everything in moderation.
Right. And like I said, before we got started, I was even telling you, you win some, you lose some. Even with those accolades, as I would call them, right? Like, because those are huge achievements.
Chops. You got them chops.
You got them heavy duty chops. You want to see somebody who sells some volume? Here we go. We got that one too. But it's like you win some, you lose some, and every agent out there needs to be hungry. But you got to understand, you're gonna take some to the chin. Like even with what we have together, you're still gonna take some to the chin. You just got to put your smile on, be nice, be friendly, be courteous, and understand that everybody has a livelihood. Everybody's out to do the same thing, and we're all trying to help these homeowners, right?
I believe it's Chris Voss that says you got to find the no.
Yeah.
That's the best place. Like if you're getting yes, that person's gone in the wind, right? Unless they sign an agreement, right?
Well, and you will get on a streak like that where everybody's just like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
But the proof is in the pudding. They until they sign it, those are just yeses.
Right.
Right. So if you find the no, especially with those tougher clients, which you usually get in the luxury market,
right?
You get to the no so that you can identify the pain point, and also them saying no makes them feel safe, and that's usually 80% of the battle is making someone feel safe, and then finding out how to help them, to continue to feel safe.
Well, and no doesn't mean no; it's just like no for now, right? Yeah. Like I always have that mentality. Because, even when I'm told no, I'm like, okay, when you're ready, when I understand you're going a different direction, but when you're ready, it's like setting that bait, right? Yeah. Like, hey, Gary, I know the agent you're hiring is going to do a good job. Like, they're a great agent, not bashful on them at all. But when you're ready, call me again. Yeah. Like, let's reconvene. If not, I wish you the best success on your journey. Like, I hope your home sells.
And put them on a drip.
Yeah. Just put them on a drip. I'll reach out same time, same message next week.
Yeah, I'll hit you up in a year. What is
hit you up in
333?
hit you up in 6 months because
6 months at 333.
once that listing agreement expires, But yeah, I mean, I think it's just it's a mindset, it's a mentality thing that agents got to get set into and understand. Now, a lot of the agents that are on our team are mega icon agents. They're doing massive volume and getting icon awards from EXP and things like that, which is good, and it's such a good feeling to be like, hey, dude, like this person I associate with, right? Like, hey, we're doing this, we're building this. Upon my departure from Washington when we moved back during COVID, I literally handed a huge database over off to one of the agents, and he's like, "Oh, it's it's the golden book."
Wait, what is that noise?
I don't know. But it's just so wild. Like, again, real estate is a relationship-based business, and so many people are out of tune with it. I think there's a lot of great agents in it that do it for that aspect, and a lot of great agents build good relationships. But you got to continue to build those relationships if you want to be successful. You've got to continue to want it. You got to be hungry. You've got to live like tomorrow your mortgage is due and you need a paycheck.
You can't have a scarcity mindset.
Right. And I always, it's so funny because when I got into real estate, everybody's like, how did you get into real estate? And I was like, well, funny you should ask. I mean, it costs about $5,000. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it costs about $5,000. It's not just getting your license. It's getting your license, getting your systems in place, getting your marketing material in place, accumulating all that, driving your business strategy, right? Like every good coach will tell a new agent, what is your goal? And most new agents are going to reply, I just want to sell a home.
Yeah.
Like that is not a good goal. Like,
I mean, step one is step one.
It is step one, but it's not a good goal because you once you achieve it, there's nothing else, right? Like, okay, I sold a home, right? And this is why a lot of people and coaches are like, agents are transactional, right? Because, I just want to sell one home this month. They sell that home, they get that check, they go on vacation. And that's like the realtor saying is like, I'm going to go on vacation because that's when business calls, right? So I try and go on vacation as much as possible.
Wait, what is vacation?
Fakecation, as I would call it.
Okay.
Hey, we're gonna travel to Austin today. Okay. So the phone starts ringing, or go to Disney World, one of the two. But I stay away from Disney. I don't mess with Mickey.
Mickey got weird.
Did you see? And I know this is random, but did you see that? So Disney made a coffee mug, and the coffee mug on the inside says Mickey, and I guess the reflection of it upside down says Wicked. Mm-hmm. Do you know the whole Wicked meaning?
I mean, I know what it means.
What does it mean?
Evil,
disloyal.
Right.
But I saw a guy post that, and I was like, man, that's crazy.
I saw that.
While all this stuff is happening, like the Drake Kendrick, beef, the whole Super Bowl thing. I mean, we live in some crazy times right now. But kind of segueing back, into real estate, it's like, it costs money to get going. It's just like
that's any entrepreneurial journey,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of seasoned agents will say, hey, keep your day job while you build your real estate business, because the last thing you want to cut off is your food supply while you're trying to build a business, because it could be 90, 120, 160 days before you see even some sort of action.
I've seen some agents stick at it for like 9 months before they got deals start rolling in.
And Inman posted an article recently too that said the top 10% of realtors only sold like 4 or 5 homes last year. Like it was super down. It was way down. It was like 26% down.
And while interest rates are still struggling, mine as well. Hold on, I'm looking for my water.
Yeah.
Mine as well. Take advantage of those new construction.
Where can you find new construction homes?
Oh man, there's this.
Besides your localhomegroup.com.
Yeah. Obviously, New Home Buddy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, you don't have to go on Zillow. You don't have to go where the filters don't even pull up everything you want, or you don't even have to go on MLS, because it's hard enough to find the new construction filter on there anyways, and it's probably not even updated as much as you like it to. Or you just get like an 800 number and you don't talk to the actual sales rep responsible for that home. Or you don't even have to go to Shift Talk where you say, hey, I need a 3-2 with a 1,400 square foot on the west side of San Antonio. And then you have 50 to 150 people DM you and say, hey, I PM'd you on your comments. You just go and you find your home. Oh, we got 18. We got 3 more builders on deck at New Home Buddy. So we got 18 total right now. Working on another 7 to 8.
Nice.
D.R. Horton's one of them. You heard it here first. And yeah, we're looking to expand to Austin here in Q2, man. It's going to be... It's going to be a wild ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
You know what I really love about New Home Buddy is with New Home Buddy, gives you all the layouts, gives you all the, to the realtors, it shows them the commission rates, which is a huge thing. But it also is kind
legally.
of
It does it legally.
Legally
Verified by the former antitrust attorney of Sabor.
Of Sabor.
Sorry, NAR.
NAR. But what I really love about it is that it gives the agents everything that they're going to need to know to provide information to the user or to the home buyer, right? So traditionally it has been, hey, I got to reach out to all the sales reps, give me all the details about your community, show me what you have move-in ready, show me what you have can build, show me all your foundations and elevations. With New Home Buddy, it kind of intercepts that conversation and gives the agent all the resources and tools they need to have at their disposal to have an intellectual conversation with the potential home buyer looking for a new home build in a specific community. And what I really, really love about it is that it takes the heat map indexing from being thousands and thousands of pinpoints on a map to only being a couple pinpoints. And
it's just based on communities.
And then as you click on it, it exposes those pinpoints, which is nice. So that you click on it, you open the community page, then all of a sudden you have all of the elevations, all of the layouts available, and I believe they even do like the lots that are available in there as well.
We will be doing.
We'll be doing the lots,
right.
yeah. So
right now we are waiting for us to gain a little bit more traction, so that we can come to the builders and say, hey, we need you to put the lot availabilities and the lot sizes on there. If you want to remain on the platform, because if we did it now, there isn't as much activity for that, so it would limit too many filters. It would limit too many results.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to have as many results as possible, but more importantly, we want to protect that realtor relationship with their client. When a realtor sends out a search to the client, we don't even show the website anymore to the builder. We want to make sure that you are the new construction professional to that client. And when that person is ready to go see that community, you are the one they call.
Right. Well, and I love the idea because it takes that mindset away from the agent being like, hey, these new home sales reps are out to get me,
and we won't tolerate that, because if we are generating more business for new construction with New Home Buddy, if they want to remain on the platform and continue to generate more business, they won't be able to snipe your clients.
Right. Yeah, that was the huge thing. Is like, there's been instances that I've heard of where, home builders are like, oh no, we're not going to pay out because this person was already in our funnel.
Yeah,
right?
for whatever reason.
They've been in our funnel the last 3 years. We denied them a home loan, but now that you've got them approved and sent them back our direction, we're going to, accept that home loan and we're going to build them the home of their dreams. You're just not going to get paid.
Yep.
Which is so crazy to even think like these builders aren't held to any kind of ethical standard. Like as a realtor, if you were to do that to another realtor,
in trouble.
You're in trouble. You're in big trouble with legal issues.
Yeah.
So it's just wild. But
funny success story. Before I even took this new position, I had a buddy get on a call with my new employer, and I said, "Hey man, pick this apart. I want you to give me every reason why I should not make this change."
Yeah.
And he went on the call. He asked all his questions. After the call, I called him and I said, "What do you think?" And he's like, "Man, I can't poke holes in this. Actually, what I'm going to do," I just had a buddy reach out to me because he's looking for a new construction that is USDA qualified, and I'm going to send him a link to where he's looking for USDA qualified new construction. He was under contract that day.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I was like, well, maybe that's my sign. I'm going to got to make the switch.
You got to make the switch. So let's try this out, Gary. We're going to introduce a new segment into the podcast.
Oh boy.
Called the 30-second mic drop.
Okay.
Let's do this. We're going to get Tara in here next week. We've got to bamboozle her next week, though. We got to give her like some, maybe T Swift, or I don't know how I feel about that. We don't have to be sexist on the show. She can sing like some Kendrick Lamar if we want her to. Like,
I'm gonna give her Bruno.
Drake, I hear you like I'm A minor.
Actor was dancing as wood used to creak. To you, I'm just a man. To me, you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? Was it myself again? Something in the orange tell me you're never coming home. That's it. That's it.
You got to end it there, Gary.
Let's do it.
30
Zach Ryan,
mic
hope it
drop.
did you justice.
Round of applause for
Thank you.
Gary
Appreciate
G.
it. Appreciate it.
That's like a stage. That's like a name right there, Gary G.
Gary G. So my stage name back in theater was Gary Dean.
Gary Dean.
Yeah, I actually got a Showtime credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back when I was doing college theater, I did a show. It was an autobiography on a fighter. Oh my gosh, Crashing Lightning or Crashing Thunder.
Crash Thunder.
Yeah, it was about a UFC fighter or somebody that was coming up in the ranks as an MMA fighter, and he actually robbed a bank in the UK to pay for his like training and all that stuff. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I did a quick. I think I'm on episode 2, but yeah, I went to Austin and did the whole thing, and it was
everything happens in Austin though.
Yeah, everything happens. in
Everything.
Austin. Yeah, keep Austin weird.
Like Friday Night
Not
Lights.
like too weird, but keep Austin.
Keep Austin weird.
Yeah, a little weird.
Austin is not just a little weird. Austin is very weird.
Real fucking weird.
Real
fucking weird.
Real
as they
fucking
say in
weird.
Boston.
In Boston.
You're gonna start calling it Austin.
I feel like an episode of Ted's coming on. Come here, you fat bastard.
All right, that's a good one. Hey, thanks guys for checking into Truth Disorder with G and E, aka Ernesto and Gario, aka Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Damn, it feels. I can't wait to hear Tara next week.
Yeah, I can't.
That is
I
gonna be.
just hope we get some comments and they pick something for her that they just
Yeah.
think that she can either butcher or sing good.
Have you heard her sing?
No.
So this will be a first for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think she she came with me and some work people out to karaoke, and she's just the camera person.
Yeah.
So I think she might have stage fright.
Uh-oh.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. She
Maybe
might.
she'll
She
own
might
it.
surprise us.
Yeah.
We might have a up and coming T Swift over here.
Oh, dude, Swizzle.
Swizzle.
Okay.
T Swizzle.
Let's do it.
But yeah, drop in the comments section what you want to hear Tara sing, and also drop another comment in the section, comment with a song you want to hear a possible guest sing.
Oh, we having guests do it too?
We're gonna have guests sing.
Oh,
they
dude,
gotta
that's
sing.
awesome.
They gotta karaoke.
Okay,
If you want to
yeah.
come on Truth Disorder, you gotta karaoke.
And this is the Truth Disorder karaoke segment.
This is the all inspired by
Karaoke.
Karaoke. You are now listening to another Truth Disorder podcast with Gary. You're a creep.
What the hell are you still doing here?
What's your talent?
What's your talent? All right, later, guys.
Peace.
Peace.